Let me put you on game. Don't listen to people who lose or you'll do the same. Stop talking to people who don't give a f*** what you saying. Stop spending your money on weed, go hop on a plane. Stop pointing the finger.
Welcome back to another episode. Today we've got our very own Edgar. Some of you guys might know him as SkarxFace or SkarxFace Visuals. He is the man behind the content that we do. He's the one that makes everything look good, makes it look pretty. But today we're going to talk to you about your story and how you got started. You're actually blown up on TikTok right now, which is pretty cool to see. And don't get it confused. It's not Dogface 208. This is SkarxFace, okay?
Yes.
So how long have you been doing content for? Like video work and social media stuff?
I think when I first bought a camera was around 7, almost 8 years ago. Okay. But this was just like messing around, like nothing too serious.
Yeah.
But actually professionally, probably about 5-6 years now.
Okay. What caused you to get into it?
So I was actually working a labor job, right? And it paid well.
Yeah.
And finally, after a long period of time, I was like, hey, can I get a raise? You know, we got paid piecework, and they're like, no, you already make too much.
Yeah.
And so
what is piecework? So people that...
So I was repairing pallets.
Okay.
I was repairing pallets before, so they paid me per pallet.
Got it.
Each one that I repaired. And so it came out like they were nice checks and everything,
yeah.
But it was just repetitive work, boring work.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I wanted a raise. I've been there for, 5+ years and
wow.
Never got a raise, never asked for a raise. And then finally when I asked for a raise, they're like, no, you make too much. And so right then and there, I was like, all right, I don't like being here.
Yeah.
Let me change. Let me fix my situation. Instead of being like, hey, like I hate my job and show up every day hating my job.
Yeah.
I decided I'm gonna be a YouTuber. That's originally that was the goal. Was
yeah.
to be a YouTuber,
Yeah.
So that's why I invested into a camera.
Okay.
And so I got the camera, started doing YouTube, started doing like Ross videos.
Okay. Just like vlog style or
Almost.
What was your...
So at that time, it was weird. Ross was getting some really nice shoes.
Yeah.
Shoes that you would never thought Ross would get.
Okay.
And so me and some other people found out that they were actually getting these shoes. So
yeah.
we would like shoot like little vlogs to Ross.
Okay.
And that started becoming popular, And
so you were like an early sneakerhead.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, always been into shoes.
Yeah.
Always been into shoes. It's a bad it's an expensive habit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hobby. So we would do that, and then out of nowhere, people were asking me, "Hey, can you take pictures of this? Can you do this? Can you do this?" And
yeah.
Of course, I was like, yeah, let me just figure it out. I wouldn't tell them that,
yeah.
But I would go and figure it out. Like I would watch YouTube videos and be like, all right, this is how they do it.
Yeah.
So I would try to like replicate that, and then slowly it started growing and growing. Yeah.
And it's like, I love that because like, don't say no to an opportunity, especially when you're starting out. Say yes, and then figure out how to do it. You know what I mean? Like, don't overcommit and don't say like, yes, I'm going to do it and not actually deliver, but don't say no to an opportunity. Just like say yes and figure out or learn that. Yes. And there's so many resources like YouTube where you can go figure out how to basically do anything, And
it's funny that I bring up YouTube because I always tell people, use your phone.
Yep.
Look up on YouTube. Not saying, hey, like that's not I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to gatekeep everything I am. I learned everything off a phone.
Yeah.
And on YouTube.
For sure.
And then from there, you start like, okay, I actually like this. Because the last thing you want to do is go and invest thousands of dollars into equipment and you don't even like doing it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people like the thought of doing content and the thought of being a videographer and the thought of doing that. But it's like when you actually get down to the nuts and bolts about it, do you want to be on Adobe Premiere Pro or whatever those things are? Do you want to be fixing lighting and upping the color and editing things out? And then it's like, or are you just thinking like you're going to go and film this epic stuff and put it together? It's not.
I wish it was like that.
Yeah, it's not like that. And obviously, like we film content, and there's so many retakes, and it's like obviously the finished version looks like it's all well put together, but that's a lot of you making it look like it's all well put together.
Yeah.
So no, that's cool. So like you get started with the vlogs, people start picking up your stuff. When did you start with the name SkarxFace? Where did that come from?
So I used to play around with different names. So for the longest time, and the people that are listening and can't see this on the video version, I do have a scar on my lip, right?
Okay.
And so I've always been self-conscious about it. Like so if I was talking to a girl, I would literally put my hand up to like this and talk to you like that because I'm like, they're staring at my scar. They probably think I'm weird.
Yeah.
And then finally one day I was like, I'm going to embrace it.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about it.
For sure.
At all. And that's why I was like, I'll just call myself SkarxFace. It's just spelled a little different because legal issues.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, so took on the name SkarxFace, and then all of a sudden that started blowing up. People started calling me SkarxFace because I'm just thinking it's like an online profile name. Handle. Everyone has like their weird handle name.
Yeah.
And now everybody, well, a lot of people know me by the name SkarxFace.
For sure. No, that when I first got introduced to you, like I was scared to call you by your name because I kept forgetting your actual name. I just SkarxFace, like, hey, can SkarxFace do that? Can SkarxFace do that? I've actually never noticed your lip. I didn't know where that came from.
I think it's also like, you know how when people are like self-conscious about something, like especially, I mean, we'll get into it later, like the videos that I've been doing recently, some girls complain about their baby weight, their you know, their mom belly and stuff like that, but nobody really pays attention.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny how we think everyone's paying attention to it.
Yeah.
But no one's really paying attention to it.
Nobody really cares. Nobody cares about whatever's going on with you as much as you care about it.
Yeah.
You know, so we obviously we blow it up and make it seem like it's a bigger deal. So that's cool. So you've been riding with the name SkarxFace for how long?
I would say a good, probably like the same 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
So you got into the vlog, started picking up. Did you ever kind of pursue the YouTube route, or did you end up like kind of kicking back on that?
I did. So I was doing the YouTube thing, and it was actually getting big. I was actually getting invited to like sneaker events.
Yeah.
Like they're like, hey, can you come out and just like hang out? Just so, because that name was being, at that time, nobody was doing these Ross videos.
Yeah.
It was literally me and like this other dude.
Yeah.
And we were the only ones doing it. And people were like so amazed in these videos. Like if you go back to those YouTube videos, they have like 60, 100, thousands of views. Like,
wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so other people started doing it obviously after that. But at that time, different like sneakerhead events, they would invite me. They're like, hey, can you come? We'll throw you this much money, you know? And so I started doing it. But then eventually, like, obviously you got to pay bills and stuff. So I started, anytime like people wanted ad videos, like I would do those, photos and stuff like that. And that kind of started taking over just because we would keep going to Ross.
Yeah.
Nothing started showing up. Like people started catching on.
Yeah.
Nike started catching on because they were, instead of selling their shoes, I don't know if you know how it works. So Ross will buy up like all their clearance stuff, like, but they buy like trailers. They buy big trailers, and they'll sell, like Nike will throw everything in there and then sell it to them at one price, and then they get everything, and then they just like price it out where they make money. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's what they would start doing. But now instead of doing that, Nike made their clearance stores.
Got it.
And so instead of giving them to Ross, they started sending them to the clearance stores. And so we don't have clearance stores here.
Yeah.
So it started dying down a lot. So I was like, I can't really do them, you know? Like,
interesting. And I wonder if that caused like a thing where Nike saw that that these shoes were getting popular and that people were actually willing to go to Ross to get these. They're like, well, shoot, if they're popular, we might as well just open our own stores instead.
Yeah, because I was reselling them too. I would buy them.
Yeah.
Like for the longest time, they would have like shoes for like $40, right?
Yeah.
I turn around and sell them for like 150, 160. Wow. You know, and so I was making money off of the shoes and the videos.
Yeah.
And then eventually it slowed down just because people started catching on.
Yep.
Nike started, I'm sure they caught on.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think looking back, I think I've seen some of those.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously I didn't know you really back then, but I'm like, I think I remember watching some of those Ross videos,
yes,
like shoe hauls. And I do remember like back in high school, like that was a thing. People would go to Ross and like sometimes I remember like cleats, like soccer cleats.
Yeah.
People would go there and get like soccer cleats and be like, hey, these were like, you know, the $150 version, and they were picking them up there for like $40 or something like that. It's like,
I found some of the Neymar Jordan cleats there, like a bunch of those. That video took off just because a lot of people were like, you did not find those there. And I was like, yeah, I actually did. And, you know, I found them and I resold them, which I later found out I could have sold them for way more than what I sold them for. But you learn.
You learn, as you get going. So like a lot of people might look at you now, obviously with your TikTok, kind of thing that and we'll get into like what you're actually doing with TikTok, but it's been years in the making of like what you've been doing. Like you've tried a bunch of different things over the years. Like over the last 7 years, you've gone from like Ross videos to, you know, other types of videos, and you finally found something right now that's like is sticking, that people like. I think that's what the biggest thing with content is. People try to, yes, you can replicate somebody, but you need to try these different avenues and see what your audience likes. You know?
Because just because you like something and you want to stick to it, you know, like I like doing the almost like photography type of content videos that I was doing. I like doing those, but there's a lot of people doing those, right?
Yeah.
And so you really have to stand out for that. And that's, like you said, not a lot of people realize I've been shooting content for the longest time.
Yeah.
But until you just got to keep trying. You got to keep trying. And then eventually you find something that people really like and it sticks. And that's how I found like these videos. And now, like, I literally just checked right before we started doing this. I'm at 4.1, almost 4.2 million views. Like within, I think it's 35 days now.
Yeah.
And so it's just been blown up.
That's huge, dude. I can't wait to see. I think like you're really getting traction. Even then, like, how long ago did you start doing the question videos on TikTok?
So it's funny, back up just a little bit more. I used to do these same questions because it's through an IG app, right?
Okay.
It's an app and then it uses IG to put anonymous questions.
Yeah.
So I would do it on my stories, right? But just answer it with the text because they only allow you to do text.
Yeah.
And then, she knows who she is. She told me to start making videos. She's like, I'd rather watch a video of you of the response. And I'm like, yeah, but the app doesn't let you. They're like, well, you do media, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah. And so I was like, to me, it seemed like a lot of work because then I have to set a camera up, audio, then I have to edit everything. Yep. So I was like, I'll try it for one round, like, because it's only 24 hours that lets you use the app.
Yeah.
Or that one round. That's how I say. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I did that, got the questions, I answered them, like, video wise. And then I started putting them out. And literally, I think it was like the third video that I put out. It got like 200,000 views in a day.
Wow.
And so I was like, oh, I think I'm on to something here, you know? And so I put more videos, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see what like people like this stuff. So now I have content to, I mean, the DMs have blown up. People don't even care about being anonymous anymore.
Yeah.
They just ask the questions. They're like, just don't put my name.
Yeah.
And now my DMs are crazy. I don't even like to look at them. That's why he'll call me instead of sending me Instagram messages.
I used to shoot DMs, but I'm like, nah, those are probably gonna get buried now.
Yeah, everything's buried in there. I have like these panic attacks just looking at everything. I'm like, I can't even like talk to people I talked to before, and it's crazy in there. But I mean, it's expected. Yeah. Like especially if you blow up on TikTok or Instagram or anything like that. So, I mean, it's been fun. Like, don't get me wrong. I like doing these. Yeah. I have no filter.
Yeah. Which I think is why they've blown up. Yeah. Is because you're being yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not putting a filter on. You're not afraid to say what you truly think. And people want that, dude. Like, nowadays in the media, whether it's content, YouTube, or even just like news channels, you can't trust that people are being genuine or real. Yeah. And so the fact that you're being genuine and people can be like, oh, he's not afraid to say what he thinks, like, despite what other people think, or despite him getting blown up in the comments, like, you're just being yourself. Yeah,
they asked me some of the questions that they asked me on there. I'm like, dang, like, you guys really trust me with all this information. Yeah. But of course, I'm not gonna out anyone like that because I have something here, and I don't want to lose it. Like, I don't want people to be like, oh, I'm not gonna ask him because he put my name out there. And things like that. So, it's been just the questions that the people ask. Yeah. I'm just like. And I think another thing that helps with these is other people can relate to the question. Yeah. They're just too afraid to ask it, even if it's like anonymous or anything like that. Yeah. But then they realize, oh shit, I'm going through it. Yeah. And now what's happening is like there's other people helping other people in the comments. Yeah. And so they're like, girl, you should leave that man. Or like even guys now, guys are like starting to participate because like I try to favor both sides, Yeah. That's why I also have girls come on and they'll come and like talk about, I'll have questions like asked directly to like a girl's perspective, which also do great. Like I had Carla on the other day, and the first video that I posted of hers, right now it's like at 150,000 views, know, and so people are loving it. So that's why I'm like, I need to keep doing this. Yeah,
and what I love is like you saw something that was working, and you just dialed in your focus. Yeah, you're like, hey, this is working. I'm dialing in my focus, and I'm gonna take this avenue. And try to utilize this as long as it lasts. I think the cool thing with what you're doing is like there is longevity to it. It's not, I mean, no hate anywhere, but a lot of people get, that one video that takes off. And, obviously one of our local stars, Dogface, had his video that took off. And looking back at his thing, it was like it took a lot of videos for him to find that video.
Yeah, he was doing it for a while.
Yeah. And I think he really maximized his potential with that. He got a lot of partnerships and things like that. So I think he did well. What I think what you're doing differently though is like yours is you can build a community within what you're doing. And you're already kind of starting to see that. Yeah. People are asking you questions. And then they're helping each other out in the comments. And some are serious questions. You know, I've been on your page and it's like, you know, we're getting a divorce or this, or my husband's doing this and I don't know what to do. And I'm thinking about leaving him. And props to you for taking on that responsibility and answering those questions. But that's where people feel like they can join a community. And if you look at like any big, let's take, you know, Dave Ramsey, for example, people feel like they're in a community of Dave Ramsey people, you know, so they feel safe in that community of they're all like budgeting and, you know, doing these things, where you're building a community where people feel like it's a safe haven to ask a question and then also help support people with their own perspectives and responses, which I think is really powerful. Like, I think you could scale that out for the long term if you do it the right way. Yeah.
And that's why, like, I don't want to show. So when they ask through the app, it doesn't tell me who it is. Yeah. Some people are like, how do you know? How do we know? Like, it literally doesn't tell me who it is.
Yeah.
And you can pay for a version where it gives you a pool of people of who it could be.
Got it.
But I'm not going to do that because I was like, I like what I have here, going here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to know. Like, if you don't want me to know, then, you know, don't tell me. I'll still answer your question.
Yeah.
Or there's the people who just do not care and they'll send me a DM and they'll be like, and just list their question.
Yeah.
And they're like, just don't put my name.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
It's a lot of trust.
It's a lot of trust. But now it's getting to the point where even I think it was yesterday I posted, because some lady, she kept messaging me like over and over. She even started calling me on the Instagram thing because she wanted me to answer her question. I was like, and I said it playing around, so I don't want people to think that I'm like, unless it starts with, hey, what's your Venmo so you can answer my question first. It was basically saying like, wait your turn. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a process I go through like to answer everybody's. I'm going to get to everybody's, but.
You think so? You think you'll get to everybody's?
I think so, because that's plenty of content. Like, one thing that I recommend, like with a lot of people, you know, we even talked about like, there's other people that give you the content.
Yeah.
Like, if someone asks you a question, you know, that's a video in itself right there, because, you know, there's probably hundreds of other people with that same question, you know, and if you make a video about it, then you can reach those and somebody will share it to somebody else.
Yeah. It's like if somebody has a question or what you've probably experienced, like if somebody's going through something in life, there's likely other people that are going through that or have that same kind of question. So it's like, why not, instead of just replying to that one person, why not put it out to the masses so everybody can benefit from it? And like going back to like what you said earlier, is like there's so many resources for information now. Even if you want to try to hoard everything you know, unless it's like something only you know, it's likely already out there on the internet. Like, people can already figure it out. So why not be that resource where people don't have to search the internet? Like, just share what you know.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I think what really helps these videos is, I always say it in the videos, I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
I've done my fair share of, like, I've never actually cheated on a girl, but I've talked to like multiple girls at the same time. I've ghosted girls. I put girls in situationships. Like, I've done it all, right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, and now I'm trying to change that, and I'm trying to like open girls' eyes that some of these dudes are out here, like, what they're doing. Yeah. Because I did it. Like, I'm not gonna act like I'm some sort of saint.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I've done it, and I think what really helps me talk about it is like the last time I did put some girl in that type of situation.
Yeah.
Just the way she was crying, I was just like, dang, I shouldn't be doing this. You know, like, because you're hurting. Not only did I hurt her, hurt the other girl that I was talking to, hurt the other girl that I was talking to, because me, I'm trying to keep all these 3 girls, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But not actually committing to one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that helps me, having been put through those types. And then also, like, I've been through like horrible relationships, right? Like, toxic relationships, like all sorts of stuff. And so I'm not afraid to talk about it. Yeah.
You're not afraid to share your experiences that you've gone through.
Yeah, because it might help somebody.
Yeah, your perspective can help somebody. And what's cool is now you've got a community. I mean, you're up to 26,000 followers on TikTok.
Right now, we're about to hit
24,000? Okay.
The day of recording of this one, so we'll see like when it releases where we're at.
Yeah, because you've been blown up fast. But that's a community now. So it's like now when you're first answering the questions, maybe it's only your perspective that they're getting. But now it's like you can answer from your perspective. And you've got 25,000 other people that are following you that are likely seeing your videos that can also chip in with their perspective. It's like, because somebody else's perspective could be totally different than yours. And maybe it is that female perspective from that situation or another male who had a different perspective or a different situation. So I think it's really cool. I think what you're doing is awesome. How has it been like, how has that process been going from, your maybe a few thousand followers to that 25,000 followers, and still just staying on top of everything? Like, do you have a schedule where you like, I'm posting a video every single day, or what's kind of your...
So it's all about consistency. And, we've had this conversation plenty of times before. And that's what a lot of people don't realize is like, if you want to see some sort of growth, see some sort of like results through social media, you have to post every day. Like whether it be like high quality videos, obviously those ones are better put together, are going to get more eyeballs and stuff like that. But if just posting something, posting every day. And so that's why I have like pre-recorded videos with all the questions, so I can have and post like 3-4 questions a day. That way I can keep, some days I'm at my studio super late because I'm recording and then I have to edit them, just so I know that I have them ready to go. And not have to like worry about like last minute, like hurry up and record something. Because at the same time, like, I got other things to record too, what I mean? So you just have to prioritize it. Because I was like, eventually, I mean, I've already seen it with TikTok, which is crazy. Like I had a couple companies sponsor a few episodes. Really? They paid me a check. They gave me a discount code.
That's awesome.
And like I get a percentage for the code, and which is pretty high if you ask me. Because the same product through Amazon Associates, I get like 20 cents. Through the code they gave me, I get $1.20 per bottle that's sold.
That's huge.
And so I'm just like, dang, like this is like, and not just that. So we also sell pins. Like I have a little pin company with my buddy. Pins have been selling because they see them on my hats when I'm wearing. I don't even realize that like I have them on my hats, right? And people are like, hey, where'd you get that pin? And I'm like, oh, shit, let me link it in my bio. Like if that way people ask. And then all of a sudden you see those like sales going up. And it's just weird how like things start coming into play. But like we talked about earlier, this doesn't happen overnight. Like it doesn't happen. It wasn't just like, oh, today I'm going to post about this and it's going to go viral. Brands are going to reach out to me. And of course, that's what everybody wants. But it takes time to get there, you know, and I was posting completely different stuff before, you know, and then I did this, it blew up and I'm just like, all right, I'm onto something here. Let me just see where it goes.
Dialed in your focus on it, which is cool. Yeah, that's the thing is like, there's so many different avenues people can go. And it's like, don't be afraid to go down different avenues. And if something isn't working, like I'm all for you. Like you got to be consistent and give it time to see if it's working, but don't be afraid to pivot. Like don't be afraid to pivot and try something new. And even if you kind of incorporate different things and see with content, it's hard because you got to see like things change so fast. You know, like things are relevant one day and then they're not relevant the next day. So it's like you've got to be able to mold with what's going on in the content world. And I'm new to like all this, obviously. Like, you know, we've only been filming content for the last little bit and we're trying to really amp up what we're doing. But I've realized like there's a lot of work that goes into doing this stuff. Like I thought like, oh, I'm doing all this real estate stuff. I can do all this stuff on the side as well. But a lot of the times we are like scrambling because it's like, what are we going to film? I forgot we got to film today. What are we going to film today? And I need to get in a better routine, but I love that you have like a backlog because you know that life happens and you're not going to be able to probably film every day that you need to film. But as long as you have a backlog, you're putting in extra hours a day that you can film to make sure you have a backlog. You're not going to not be consistent. And that's where most people miss the boat. It's like with this podcast, we've got to be consistent with it. Like if we're saying, hey, we're going to post one every Wednesday, we better have an episode to be able to post every Wednesday. People want consistency in their life. And if they're excited to listen to this podcast, they're excited to, hey, I'm going to go home when I get off work and I'm going to, you know, scroll through Edgar's feed and there better be 3 videos there because he posts 3 videos a day. Like,
and then they're not there.
And they're not there. They're going to be like, okay, attention's going to go somewhere else.
So kind of like, I know you brought it up about like people come back to if they expect a podcast episode on Wednesday. And if it's not there, they're going to be like, well, what happened? And then right after that, they're like, well, I was going to listen to his, but since his is not here, I'm going to go look for something else. And all of a sudden, like, say they find something else, and now they completely forgot about your podcast because you didn't release it that one day, you know? And so that's why you have to be consistent because people will start like getting attached to you, if that makes sense. Like they'll be like looking forward to that episode. And if it doesn't come out, then they're like, you know, what happened? what happened, you know, and then they'll go find something different.
Yeah. You get plugged into their daily routine. It's almost part of their process. I know, because I've done that. Like I used to, have you heard of Andy Frisella? So he runs like I forgot what his first podcast is called, but it's like the CEO Project or something like that. And, or the MF CEO. And I used to listen to his podcasts religiously. Like I knew when it was coming out, I'd get excited. And then he took like a hiatus of posting, which is fine. I know that some people have to do that, but it's like, then I got another, I haven't listened to his for a long time.
Yeah, see?
And I think he's getting consistent again, but I'm like, I started listening to somebody else. And then you fall down those rabbit holes. It's like one person that I've been super impressed with is like Alex Hermosi. I don't know if you've seen him on YouTube or Instagram, but he's blown up in the last 6 months, and he's gotten like millions of followers now and subscribers on YouTube. And he is consistently posting out content. And it's just like, and I think he batches his content like one day a month, and he just does like, full 12, 14 hours that day of filming content so that he has everything. But I'm like, you've got to be consistent. You've got to be consistent in this content world, or else you're going to lose attention.
Yeah. And like we have such a short attention span. So like, that's why we do something similar right now. Like we meet up to film your content, right?
Yeah.
Of course, there's other days that we do meet up there, but there's like one day that we meet up to get the majority of your stuff.
Yeah.
And people don't see that, because I know, that you have other stuff going on. So it's kind of hard to like, people think that, it's so easy to like record content, but you start realizing that it's something you have to plan out.
Yep.
Sit down and like see where you guys are going to go. Cause like we've sat down and talked about like where you're trying to go, what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And people don't see that. They'll see this.
Yeah.
They'll see this and they don't realize everything that happened beforehand.
Yeah. Podcasting's hard. You schedule out people to come and then people cancel on you. And then you're like,
change schedules.
Yeah. You're like, well, now I need a backup. And, we see it with like even the local spotlights that we do. It's like, you plan to do one in advance and then they're like, can we reschedule that? And it's like, well, shoot, I need that piece for today, or even a property tour. It's like, there's just so many things that go into building out the content that it's like, it is difficult. And everybody wants to do it until they see like actually how much work is put into content. Like everybody wants to be Logan Paul and Jake Paul until you can actually see what requires, like what kind of requirement that involves.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I do not envy those guys. Those guys, although it seems like they're just having fun, dude, those guys are hustling. Man.
Oh, they're grinding. And now you get to those points where now they pay an entire team to set everything up for them. So all they do is just show up, sit down, record.
Yeah.
All right, cool. They send it to get edited and everything. But it takes time to build up to that. You know what I mean? Like everyone thinks it's so easy. Like they'll start a podcast I always encourage people starting stuff, but they have to realize it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You have to, if you don't have someone to edit for you, now you have to build it. Like you have to do it, and it's gonna take time away from your like other stuff you have to do. Like especially like you who like have a wife and you have a daughter now, and you want to spend time with them. But imagine if you try to take it all on your own. Oh, you would barely even see them.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't see them, and I would get burnt out. Like, I mean, to be honest, I tried starting a podcast like a year ago. Got maybe like 3 episodes in. We never really knew what we were talking about. Didn't have anybody to film it. I was trying to figure this all out on my own. And I'm like, I just kicked it to the side because I'm like, it's not bringing in money, which talk about content is a long game too. You're not going to see returns right away. But then it's like, so then I just started utilizing my time other places.
Yeah.
Where now I've kind of figured out, I need to dial in what I'm best at, selling real estate. And I need to bring in people that can help me scale these other avenues that I want to also build. Cause like I do want to do content and I do, cause I think some of the content that we can provide is valuable to others. But I also know that I can't just do that by myself and maintain everything else I'm doing. So there's a good book called The Who Not How. And it's like when you're looking at scaling businesses or activities, don't look at like how, like all the things that you're going to have to do it. It's like, who can you bring into your life to make that doable? When you're looking at scaling other businesses or other activities, don't be so focused. A lot of people get focused on like, oh, it's going to be so much work for me to do. Well, don't think about what you need to do. Like think about who you need to bring into your life
exactly
to make that possible. It's like for me to build content, you're that who. You're the person that already knows how to do all these things. You have equipment equipment, you have knowledge. It's like, okay, bring in an Edgar, we can scale this together.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to scale things together with people. They want to try to do everything on their own. It's like, guys, you can't do everything on your own. Like, if you want to go far, you need to bring people in to go with you.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And especially what you're like, because we sat down, we talked about like what your vision was, like where you want to go with this. And it makes me excited because I love growing, like building something. Like when I first sent you the podcast intro, like I was super excited for you to see it. And I was like, oh, hopefully he likes it, you know, like hopefully he likes it, you know, because it takes a while to build. And then I sent it to you and you're like, dude, that looks so awesome. And I'm like, you know, like, I'm so glad he loves it. And then we added some music to it. Now we're just like refining it, making it look nice. But a lot of people don't see this. And so imagine like you having to take away your time from like real estate, right?
Yeah.
Or your wife and kid to try to do something like this. You're going to burn yourself out super fast.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it would just never get done.
Yeah.
Like I've been saying I want to do a lot of these things for a long time. But I had the thought process of like, I want to do these and I got to figure out when I can do them. Like I need to be build out the channel and I need to do all this and I need to get the graphics done and I need to find an intro. It's like, but I realized like, I don't have to do all those things.
Yeah.
I can focus on what I'm good at, be involved in the company with where I think I can bring the strengths. I can bring the strengths by like being a part of it and coming up with some of the content ideas and being, the host of the podcast and bringing on people using my connections. But I'm not good at editing it. I'm not good at placing cameras or lighting. I'm not good with audio. And it's like, I could try to learn all those things, or I could find the who that already knows those things to bring in. You know what I mean? And that goes with any business.
Yeah, yeah. Because I also read a book. I think it's called The E-Myth Revisited. I don't know if you ever.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't read it though.
And it also talks about like smaller businesses and why they don't get like scale.
Yeah.
Because they don't put the proper people in place to help them grow, because you reach a point where you need people.
Yeah.
And some people don't want to pay that money because they're like, oh no, I know how to do it. Yeah, but now this is you trying to do this is taking time away from this, what you should be focusing on.
Yep.
And not a lot of people understand that. And once you start understanding that, then you start seeing this growth and you're like, oh, I should have done this a long time ago.
Yeah. You look at somebody like, I always refer to like athletes when I look at business. So it's like, you look at LeBron James or Kobe Bryant, it's like, they didn't try to, like, they knew the ROI or the best, they could make the most money if they focused on playing basketball. It's like, if they focused on, being a fitness trying to train themselves with fitness or trying to cook for themselves, like that was going to take time away from them playing basketball and they weren't going to be proficient at it. Like, I can't. So they brought in chefs, they brought in personal trainers to get them to that next level. It's like, you only have so much time in a day. It's like, focus on the things that you can bring in the highest ROI on your time and try to, if you can't afford it, like hire out the other things. It's like, I focus on real estate. That's what I'm good at. I spend the most time there. And then we have somebody that comes and helps out with the house once a week to make sure that that's clean. We have somebody that, in the summer does the yard. It's like, yeah, I could do that, but it takes away time where it's like, if I'm going to waste 2 hours, if I'm going to be home for 2 hours, I'd rather be home with my wife and daughter. And if I'm not going to be home with them, then I should be spending that time getting the highest return on investment, which is selling real estate. So it's like, I'd rather spend 2 hours doing what I need to do in my real estate business than 2 hours mowing the lawn. And I get a lot of flack for that. Like, oh, you don't even cut your own grass, or, oh, you guys have a house cleaner. It's like, yeah, because I understand leverage.
Yeah.
I'm buying back my time and I can pay them for the 2 hours. And if I utilize my time correctly, I can go make more money for those 2 hours. Does that make sense?
That, or just that time that you're going to spend with your wife and kid.
Yeah.
You can't buy, matter what priceless. You can't buy time. Like, I wish we had more than 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
Like, but you can't be like, hey, can I pay you for like a few extra hours? No, like, you can, like you said, you can pay somebody to come and do that for you.
Yeah.
That way you can spend your time over here.
Yep.
And it's worth it.
100%.
And if someone gives you flack for it, then gives you flack for it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if it makes you happy, because there's some people that they'll do their lawn because somebody else is going to be like, no, they're going to say.
They're worried about the pride.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my neighbor's going to give me flack because I don't mow my lawn. I do have neighbors that give me flack because I don't, mow my lawn. But it's like at the end of the day, I don't care. I'm like, I'd rather spend my time doing the things I enjoy. And I don't. And some people might enjoy cutting their lawn and cleaning their house. I don't. And so like, I'd rather spend the time doing what I enjoy. And I look at any big corporation, any big, Oprah or any of these big people in the business world. It's like they have the same amount of time I do. The only thing that separates them is they brought in the right people to do the right things so that they can focus on what they need to do to bring in more money for their business, their family, whatever. So it's like Oprah's not cutting her own grass. She's not scheduling her appointments. She's got people in place to do those things so she can spend the time that she has throughout the day doing her business to grow, continue to make that grow. So do you feel like there's going to be a point where you're going to need to bring in somebody for your, this content kind of thing, help you out?
Yeah, there's because there's more people that want to do content for them. Yeah. And so I've been having conversations with 2 other guys that I know I trust them. Yeah. What they do to bring them on full time. That way we can, I can focus what I need to focus on. Yeah. And still have everything taken care of. Yeah. You know what I mean? Kind of like we were just talking about. It comes to a point where you realize you have to do that in order to grow. Yep. And, some people won't want to do it because at the end of the day, I shared that from Patrick Bet David, like, if you want to see somebody win, give them a large amount of money and see what they do with it. Yep. Some people will go, like I've seen people go on these like crazy vacations, spend money on this, buy that. But then at the end of the day, like they're complaining about their job, they're complaining about this, and they don't like do what they love to do. Yeah. Me, like I'd rather, for the longest time, I've been doing this for like 4 or 5 years. I haven't took a luxury vacation. I haven't bought like a super fancy car. I can if I want to, but I'd rather buy all this equipment to get me to that point where I can just be like, all right, hire on a crew and be like, you guys take care of it. Yeah. Like I have all the equipment for you guys. Yeah. And not have to worry about it.
For sure. You're playing the long game. Yeah. You're reinvesting what you make into your business to grow. It's like we've done that, here as well. We could be doing these fun things that other people are doing, but we're not. We're hiring more employees. We're scaling our business. Like at the end of the day, some of those people take those vacations and do things and then complain about like, oh, I can't hire this person for $2,000 a month because it's too expensive. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's what you need to do to grow. It's like, you can't be afraid to invest into your own business. If you're in this for the long haul, it's like, yeah, if you are just trying to get a quick minute of fame and you just want to, get one big year out of it, then maybe you shouldn't increase your overhead and reinvest in your business if this isn't a long-term thing for you. But like, I think we're both in this with both of our businesses for the long term. So it's like, we're taking what we can here now, reinvesting in our business to open more doors for more opportunities in the future. Oh yeah. So, with your, I have a question with your content. Have you gotten burnt out at all with it yet with the questions? Do you foresee yourself getting burnt out with it?
I don't think so, because when I get burnt out of something, it's the repetitiveness of like the same thing. Yeah. But since it's like people with like different questions, and then sometimes I'll have somebody come in, like I know some people are going to be like, why do you want them on? Like, I've been reaching out to this, like, a porn star. So, cause I want to have her on it so people can ask her questions, because I'm like, people are going to ask her like some crazy stuff
questions.
And those videos are going to go. Oh yeah. And so now all I have to do is worry about like asking her the question and, getting her response. And now, just like everything else, I was like, all right, how can I improve these questions? So now I'm going to have a camera on them and a camera on me. So like when I ask the question, you see me and response, and then you'll see them instead of me just in the background, and just like things like that. So I'm trying to come up with like creative ways to keep it interesting. Yeah. I have some other ideas. I don't want to say them just yet, just because I still haven't done them yet. Yeah. But they're like, after I answer a lot of these questions, those type of videos are coming. Yeah. But I also keep it fun too. Like you've seen like the funny, like get ready with me videos I do, the dancing videos I do, just like messing around. That like all this stuff is fun to me. Yeah. So that's why I don't think I'd get burnt out. I love the editing part. Yeah. That's where a lot of people quit, because
that's the brutal part.
Yeah, it is the brutal part. But I love that whole, like, when I sent you something, you're like, oh yeah, I really like that. Really, like, I love those reactions, and I'm like, oh hell yeah, like, I'm gonna keep doing this.
That's like your thing. It's like, people like whether you're making food, it's like you're getting all the ingredients and then you have your finished product, or you're flipping a house and you see where it came from to where it's at. It's like, that's what editing is kind of probably for you. It's like you get that gratification of, I took this raw piece of content and I turned it into this.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And then I really stick with people who, there was something that you told me, and then I was like, which really motivated me even more. I'm like, oh, I'm excited to work with them, was when you told me that I'm going to make you the best real estate videographer that there is. And I'm like, all right, if he believes in me like that, I was like, I can get there.
Yeah.
And so that it's like little things like that people tell me. Like, for example, there's another buddy who told me, like, as soon as I make this move, everything's going to blow up for you. Like, just like a business decision I had to make.
Yeah.
And he's like, as soon as you make this decision, he's like, watch, you're going to blow up. And I'm thinking at that time, right, like, anyone's going to tell you that. Like, your friends can tell you that and stuff like that. Yeah. But, I was like, you know what? He's right. I made that move. Everything took off.
Really?
And I'm like, I say I should have done it before, but maybe that was the right time to do it, you know? And sometimes it's those scary decisions you have to make, out of nowhere, and just be like, it blows up. But I like to stick with people like that say something like that, because it just shows that they believe in what you're doing and like where you can go.
For sure. No, and I truly, and I mean that. It's like, my goal is, and I try to do it with anybody. I think you shared, no. There's this other guy here in town, Dallin. He shared something the other day that was like, my main goal is to make everybody that comes in contact with me better off. You know what I mean? So it's like everybody that's in my inner circle, anybody that trusts me to work with me, I want to make sure that they're better off than when they initially started with me,
exactly.
in different aspects. And I think if you focus on that, like, how can I add value to other people's lives? You're going to get that value back, like tenfold.
Oh yeah.
So, dude, going back to your question thinking about your idea, that is brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. If you actually do that, you will absolutely, I mean, you're already blown up, but you will absolutely blow up. And that's what I love, is like, you've got these ideas and you're not afraid to, dude, people would be terrified to do something like that.
Yeah. Like, and they're like, oh, I can't believe you're going to have a porn star on your thing.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's just like how it's happening. Like, this lady reached out to me, like, she saw my video on Instagram.
Yeah.
Or not Instagram, but TikTok.
TikTok, yep.
So unless I follow them, they can't message me. So she went over to my Instagram and she sent me a message there. And like, she basically told me like what she did.
Yeah.
And like where she's based out of Cali. So I would want to do that in person.
Yeah.
So like, I would either have to fly over there or fly her here to do like just the videos. But I see it worth it because
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, them just asking a porn star, and she's not small either. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's a pretty big porn star. I didn't know who she was, because I don't want people to be like, oh, this dude's out here watching. No, I don't watch that.
Yeah.
But I researched her because I was like, well, it's got to be worth it for me.
For sure.
And then I researched her and I'm like, oh shit, she's kind of big,
That's crazy.
And so it slowly you start meeting these people like along the way. And so I'm just like, I think that would be a good look. And like I said, I have these other ideas I just don't want to say just because I haven't done them.
Yeah.
They're coming, but I just haven't done them. And I don't want somebody else to be like, all right, I'm going to do it because he said he's going to do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to keep some things a secret.
Yeah, no, that's you can't show all your cards up front.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Dude, that is hilarious. I think that is so funny, and I hope you actually do it, because I think that'll actually. I'm just like the clickbait that you'll get from that. Oh, yeah. Like, it'll blow up. People will be like, "Oh, it's funny." What's like? Where do you see this going with your TikTok? Like, what do you imagine it could be, or what do you want it to be?
So I want it to be able to monetize it, like kind of like the brands that are already asking to put stuff in it.
Yeah.
Because some of these bigger brands, well, I mean, you've seen these TikTok guys, they get paid a lot of money for very short videos and stuff like that. So if I can have that, like set aside one day to do a bunch of content just for the TikTok, and then just have somebody else, like pay somebody to edit those for me, and then just post them, and that's making money. Because my goal is to have multiple revenues of income.
Yeah.
Have money come in through here, and where you have to do very little too.
For sure.
Like if I have to just show up and record and do that, but eventually that grows into like partnerships, grows into other content, other ideas.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, before I would always be like, this is what I want to do. Yeah. But that can be the goal, but don't be afraid, like you said earlier, to pivot, because things change. Yeah. I said I originally wanted to be a YouTuber, and that only lasted maybe a couple years. Yeah. Until I had to pivot because I was seeing way more return in like doing like videos for other people.
Yeah. Building like a marketing company, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to be able to pivot. And honestly, I think you have the opportunity, if you do this right, you can build a brand, essentially. It's like you already have a brand. You have SkarxFace Visuals, which is kind of like the marketing company that does the videography and stuff. But you could build that out to people are using you because of the brand. And it's like, and if you build a community within these social media platforms, you could leverage that community for the brand to film content for other people.
Exactly.
You can even, I mean, we can cut this out if we want, but I think an idea with you too would be cool to open like an actual content studio here and like have a few different like content rooms where people can come in and film.
Yeah. And no, that's actually a great idea because that's something I actually thought about because there's other places that have done it here.
Yeah.
They just haven't done it the way I would do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and it's always like, there's always going to be, there's other real estate agents. Doesn't mean you don't do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like still do it, but do it your way.
For sure.
So that's actually something I actually have in mind that I want to do is like get a big warehouse and just have like different areas where people can come like either like record their video that they want or even hold like some sort of classes because I get asked for like mentorships all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and just like do different stuff like that. Just have like a content headquarters.
Yeah.
Where people can come.
And if you could get I know you've got a few guys that work for you, but it's like if you can get one or two guys in there that know how to film the right way and edit the content, and you're providing the environment for somebody, and then you're also providing them with like a tool for somebody to record for them.
Yeah,
where they can just come in with maybe their own scripts, and you maybe take it another level and you help write scripts for content for people. That's an avenue I think down the road too that you could really utilize.
Because that one I would have to bring somebody on because I suck at writing scripts.
Yeah.
But there's people who that's what they do.
That's what they're good at. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I've realized that, especially because it comes down to like the people you surround yourself with. Yep. You start learning like how they work and how they, leverage other people. You help them, they help you.
Yeah.
And you realize that you can grow. You know what I mean? Like just have the right people around you.
Yep.
If you have the wrong people who are just telling you go party, go do this, go do that, you're never going to grow.
Yeah.
So
you're a product of your environment. And we say that a lot, but it's so true. We've had guests on here that like have gone from, chasing a college degree to not chasing a college degree to going into sales. And it's like, what was those pivoting things? It was like, well, everybody that I was hanging around with was going to school to be a doctor. Well, then I got hanging around this group and everybody was like crushing it in sales. So I learned sales and I went to go crush it in sales. I see that with like real estate teams, in a shifting market. There's two different type of realtors. There's ones that have a positive perspective. They know that there's going to be business in any kind of market. And that's because they're surrounding themselves with people that are like solution focused and they're finding the opportunity no matter what. Or there's the people that are surrounded by agents that are like, there's just no business out here. This is going to be too hard. And they're going to get out of the business. And then everybody that they're surrounded by might also get out of the business because if you're constantly fed negative thoughts, that's what you're going to also think. But flip side, you're constantly fed positive thoughts and you're surrounded by people looking for opportunity. That's what you're going to do. Yeah. I try to surround myself with business people, entrepreneurs, people that are just crushing it in life. And we're constantly like, the conversations are, what can we be doing more? What business could we be starting? How could we do this? It's like, that's what excites me. Like,
it's cool that you bring that up because I was actually, my buddy called me, Troy, the owner of Graffiti Beauty and Barber. And he's like, hey, we need to create some sort of monthly event where just a bunch of us who are like entrepreneurs trying to crush it, like just come get together, let people know where you're at, how you can help somebody else and how, and they'll be able to be like, oh, I can help you in this area. I know this person, because it's all about networking. It's all about, who you know. And usually people who are killing it, people tend to think that they don't want to help other people.
Yeah.
But they're more than willing to help, be like, oh yeah. Oh, I know this person that I can put you in contact with, and like help you out. And that's because you're in the right circles. If you're in the wrong circles with people who are just gatekeeping everything, then.
Yeah. It's like, if they're truly successful, they probably have an abundance mindset. And so they're willing to share. I think that's a great idea. Like on the real estate side of things, I've kicked around the idea of doing like, just like monthly social hours. But I think it'd be cool to do, not necessarily like a mastermind, but like just a social, like a gathering, a monthly get together, or a meetup with other business owners, entrepreneurs, where we just get to learn other people's business. Like, talking to, maybe talking to Troy, how is it running a barber shop?
Yeah.
How is that business structure? Because I think there's things that you can learn from other businesses that you can implement in your own business in a different way. So he's like, oh, we do this kind of system and this kind of marketing we do and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, I didn't think about this. Well, here's kind of what we do. And maybe he can take something from that to say, oh, I didn't, maybe I can implement that in my business. I think there's so much power in collaboration with stuff like that. And so I think it'd be super beneficial.
Yeah, we were thinking about going to dinner somewhere, but I told him, I was like, he has a shop there. And I was like, we can all just meet up there. Everyone brings something, like some sort of snacks. We just sit down and talk.
Yeah.
And because his whole shop is a vibe. Like, you go in there, it's like laid back sneaker stuff all over the place, graffiti all over.
That's awesome.
Like it's dope to be in there. And so, I mean, that's something that we talked about that we're going to start doing. And of course, obviously I'm going to invite you over to the thing. Yeah. And it's just going to be like just a bunch of, and this is what other people should do too. Like, find people that you want to like surround. I always surround myself with people who are doing way better than me. Yeah. Because that motivates you to, be better. Like, and they can, you can see how they work. Yeah. How they work. And so you're like, oh, I'm slacking, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember I had a conversation with this dude. He had like 20 plus companies, multimillionaire. And just to the point where he's like, yeah, I was working all the time before, but now he's just chilling. Yeah. Hanging out. He took us out on his like snowmobiles, like he had a cabin up in Tetonia. It was a freaking mansion, Yeah. And you're just like, dang, like this dude is killing. Like he's been killing it. Yeah. But he did the right thing. Like he has his company now, but he has other people running him. Yeah. Like,
he's kind of out of it, which is like, and those people are so open to sharing their experiences. They want to help young individuals. Like if you're hungry, like go to a successful person, because they will likely, if you're truly hungry and you truly want it, they'll see that in you. Yeah. And they'll want to help you. They'll be like, oh, I remember when I was like that. Yeah. Like, I want to help you, get there faster. So many people are just afraid to ask and afraid to connect with people. I think there's so much value there. So we'll kind of wrap this all up. I know we kind of went all over the place, but, what's your advice for anybody that's looking to do content, wants to blow up on TikTok like you are? What have you learned over the years of just doing content that you could share with us?
Just first of all, be consistent. Yeah. Like be consistent, because the more you post, you never know which video is going to go. Yeah. And don't be afraid to try other stuff. Of course, if you want to like copy somebody else's video and see how it does for you, cool, do it. But at the end of the day, it has to be original. Like it has to be you. Yep. That's why I feel like these ones really work, because there's not really anyone doing these type of videos. Yeah. And also a lot of other things, like I have no filter. I can talk about whatever you want. Like, if you ask me a question, I'm going to answer it. But it's all about consistency and quality. Yeah. Like I asked some people, because I was curious. I was like, what do you think makes my videos like why do you like watching it? Yeah. And she told me, she's like, it looks nice. It sounds nice. And she's like, everything, it just looks like a nice video. And so anything that you put quality content on top of it too. Yep. Of course they're going to do well. Yeah. So that's why like it's good to invest into quality content too, because if it looks nice and it sounds nice and you're giving them great quality content, yeah, it's only a matter of time before it blows. Yeah, quality production mixed with quality content is what can help something really blow up. Yeah, because I've heard some people's podcasts when I always push people to start their own thing, but I'm like, focus on, like, if you're gonna do a podcast, just spend the extra money. Like if you're gonna do it yourself, just buy some microphones, buy the cheap microphones. Anything better than your Apple headset, is gonna sound way better. Because one time I listened to a podcast that somebody came out with. They were using their Apple headset and it just sounded bad. Like I instantly checked out. Yeah. Just because you could hear, what sound I'm talking. Yeah. It's like echoey and it's bad. No, yeah. And you can and don't get me, there's gonna be the people that are like, oh, but raw content is better, and you don't want to, people love the original, where it's not all cinematic and put together. And it's like, yes, I agree. There's a time and a place for that kind of content. And yes, if the content is good enough, those videos can still go. Mm-hmm. But just imagine how much farther they could have gone if they were, had quality production and quality, mixed with the quality of content that they're talking about. Probably would have gone even bigger. Yeah. So I think it's like, you can never go wrong as long as you're doing both combined. It's like, you can't just do high quality production and not have good content that you're sharing. Exactly.
and you also can't just have good content without some quality production. You're not going to maximize your potential. So,
yeah, and then someone else is gonna see it and be like, I can do better than that, you know, and then just push you out to the side,
blow you out of the water.
Yeah,
100%. So consistency, quality. What's one more thing that you could share with us?
Consistent, quality, and just be original. Don't try to imitate anybody. Like, be you. Like, that's why, like, anything that we do for you, I'm like, we have to make it Anthony.
Yeah.
You know, I know it sounds weird, but you're starting to understand, like, we have to make it Anthony.
Yeah.
Same with me. Like, I can't try to replicate somebody else's video because that's not me. Like, you know, I talk a certain way, I act a certain way.
Yep.
Everyone is different, you know.
For sure.
But as long as you can bring something original to whatever you're trying to do, people can relate to it a lot more.
And going on with that, I think that's the key thing to attracting your tribe or your followers, like the people that you're going to connect with. It's like, if you're original, you're not going to connect with everybody, but you can't be worried about trying to connect with everybody. It's like, I even, like with real estate, I don't dress like with a suit and dress up shirt.
You're more casual.
I wear what I want to wear. And if like somebody doesn't want to work with me because of that, then okay. They're not my people that I want to work with. It's the same thing with content. If they don't want to watch your content because you're not filtered and you're not saying the things that they want you to say, that's fine. Then they're not your audience.
Yeah.
But if you focus on just being original, like, you will attract your own audience. And there's so many different people that like different things. So it's like, don't be afraid to be who you are and do attract the business from the people that you want to work with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's those, I'm sure you've seen those videos, like, as soon as the action, they're like a whole different person.
Yep.
And those ones are the ones that don't. You could tell right away because somebody watches it and be like, that's not him.
Yeah. You
watch a video of mine, you're like, yeah, dude, this dude is the same way in person.
Yeah. And you can fake it for a while.
Yeah.
You know, and you can fake it and you might blow up, but eventually it'll come out, you know, that you're not being who you really are.
Yeah.
So I love that. Consistency, quality, and being yourself.
Just original.
Being original. I love that, man. Okay. Well, SkarxFace, I appreciate you coming on here.
No,
you guys
thank
have
you.
questions for him? I don't shoot him a DM because he's already got like 1,000 questions in his DM. But maybe message me and I can get you the word to him, you know?
I'll get it to him.
I'll get it to him. I got the inside track. But I think what you're doing is awesome, man. I'm proud of you for crushing it. So
Appreciate it, dude.
can't wait to see what we do together in the future.
Oh, we're going to kill it, bro.
We're gonna kill it.
Oh, we're going to kill it.
Okay. Till next time, guys. We'll catch you later.
All right, see
Don't
you guys.
listen to people who lose or you'll do the same. Stop talking to people who don't give a what you saying. Stop spending your money on weed, go hop on a plane. Stop pointing the finger and start taking some of the blame. Let me put you on game. Control your emotions, most of the time it's really not worth it. Don't be ashamed and beat yourself up for not being perfect.